More than 11 kilometers below the surface of the Pacific Ocean lies a place so extreme, so hostile, that for a long time we believed it could not support life at all. The Mariana Trench, a world of eternal darkness, crushing pressure, and near-freezing temperatures. A place where we have explored less than the surface of Mars. But what if I told you that this hidden world is not empty? What if it is, in fact, one of the most biologically rich environments on Earth? For decades, only a handful of expeditions have ever reached these depths, from early descents led by the United States to later missions involving European teams pushing the limits of deep-sea technology, each one revealing fragments of a world we barely understand. And then, in 2021, China sent one of the most advanced deep-sea submersibles ever built, a mission that descended into this abyss and discovered something that changed everything. To understand what was found, we first need to understand where we are going. The Mariana Trench was formed millions of years ago, where one tectonic plate is forced beneath another in a process known as subduction. This creates a deep scar in the Earth's crust, reaching depths of nearly 11,000 meters. To put that into perspective, if you placed Mount Everest inside the trench, its peak would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. At these depths, pressure exceeds 1,000 times what we experience at sea level, enough to crush a human instantly. It would be like having the weight of several elephants pressing down on you at once. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and sunlight never reaches this world, because it is simply too deep for any light from the surface to penetrate, leaving it in permanent darkness. It is a place that should be silent, empty, lifeless, and yet, it isn't. Over the years, scientists have discovered creatures that seem almost alien, like the ghost-like Mariana snailfish, one of the deepest living vertebrates ever recorded, with a soft, fragile body adapted to survive immense pressure. The bizarre Dumbo octopus, flapping its ear-like fins as it drifts through darkness. The terrifying anglerfish, using its glowing lure to hunt in complete blackness. And the massive giant amphipod, a scavenger that can grow far larger than its shallow water relatives. Creatures that look like monsters, but are in reality masterpieces of evolution. Each one adapted to survive in a world where survival should be impossible. But for most of human history, these depths remained out of reach. In 1960, for the first time ever, humans reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Inside the submersible Trieste, Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard made a historic descent. A journey into the unknown. They spent only a short time at the bottom, but proved that reaching these depths was possible, and reported seeing marine life, including what appeared to be small creatures moving across the seafloor. A sign that even here life could exist. Decades later, in 2012, filmmaker and explorer James Cameron made a solo descent in the deep-sea Challenger. He became the first person to reach the Challenger deep alone, spending several hours on the ocean floor, capturing images, collecting samples, and helping reveal this alien world in unprecedented detail. Then, in 2019, the DSV limiting factor enabled repeated dives to the deepest points on Earth, a state-of-the-art deep submergence vehicle built for extreme pressure, capable of returning again and again to places once visited only once. Led by explorer Victor Vescovo, the mission completed multiple dives to Challenger Deep and made a disturbing discovery. Plastic waste had already reached even the deepest place on Earth. But even with these missions, our understanding of life in the deepest ocean remained limited, because visiting the bottom is not the same as studying it. But that changed in 2021. A new expedition using the advanced submersible Fendouzhe descended not once but multiple times into the Hadal Zone across a series of research dives during the expedition. This was not just exploration. This was systematic science. Scientists explored the Mariana Trench, the Yap Trench, and the Philippine Basin. They collected more than 2,000 samples from water, sediments, and deep-sea organisms. For the first time, researchers were not just observing life in the deep, they were mapping it, analyzing it, understanding it. And what they found was beyond anything expected. More than 7,500 species of microorganisms were identified, and nearly 90% of them had never been seen before. Almost everything they found was completely unknown to science. An entire hidden ecosystem existing in total darkness. The diversity of life discovered was comparable to everything we already knew about marine microorganisms across the entire planet. It was as if we had discovered a second biosphere hidden beneath the ocean floor. But how can life exist under such extreme conditions? How can organisms survive crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and almost no food? The answer lies in adaptation. These microorganisms have evolved biological systems unlike anything near the surface. Some produce proteins and cell membranes specially structured to keep functioning under immense pressure, preventing their cells from collapsing or losing stability. Others slow their metabolism to extraordinary levels, conserving energy in an environment where nutrients may take years to arrive. Some can metabolize substances that most life cannot, including methane, sulfur compounds, and complex carbon molecules trapped in sediments. In other words, they can feed on what most organisms would consider unusable. And that is exactly why the Mariana Trench matters. Because life that survives here may solve problems we still cannot solve above. These organisms may hold the key to new medicines, new enzymes designed to function in extreme conditions, and industrial processes that require less heat, less energy, and fewer chemicals. Their survival mechanisms could help us better understand aging, cell repair, and how to protect human tissue from stress and damage. Some of these microbes can also break down compounds similar to oil and plastics, raising the possibility of new tools to fight pollution. Imagine using biology shaped by the deepest ocean to help clean the surface world. What if the solution to some of our biggest environmental problems is already living in the deepest parts of our planet? And that may be only the beginning, because the discoveries made there did not end with new forms of life. The 2021 mission created something unprecedented. A massive database of deep-sea microorganisms open to scientists around the world. A global resource that could drive research for decades. This marks the beginning of a new era. An era where the deepest parts of the ocean are no longer completely unknown, but are becoming one of the most important frontiers in science. But there is also a darker side to this story. Because even here, in one of the most remote places on Earth, human impact has already arrived. Plastic debris, chemical pollutants, and toxic compounds linked to industry have been found at extreme depths, more than 10,000 meters below the surface, carried downward by currents, sinking waste and time. Even animals living in these trenches have been found with pollutants inside their bodies. No place is truly untouched anymore. So what did they find in the deepest place on Earth? Not emptiness, not silence, but life, complex and diverse, and still largely undiscovered. A hidden world that challenges everything we thought we knew about the limits of life. And at the same time, a warning that even the deepest place on Earth is not beyond our reach or our damage. And maybe the most important question is not what we found, but what we have yet to discover. Because if life can exist here, in darkness, under immense pressure, then where else could it exist? If you enjoyed this descent into the deepest place on Earth, leave a like, And if you are fascinated by deep ocean mysteries, extreme life, and the unknown, don't forget to subscribe and join us on the next dive, because the ocean may still be hiding something even stranger. See you on the next one.